Hey guys, HippieHolo1 here. Welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be going over a bunch of the O Gauge Lionel Tinplate trains that are now up for sale on my eBay store. Alright, so while I have these two out, I'm actually going to, as I did with my HO collection, I'm going to put these off to the side. I forgot this thing still doesn't roll. That's a work in progress, we're getting there. And I'm going to start with the rolling stock. So, up first here, I have a Lionel. What is this? This is a 654 Shell tanker car. I have all the dates written down on my eBay store for like what eras these are from. This one's interesting because it's one of the only cars in my collection that looks like it was restored at some point and not by me. The reason I say that is because you can see how nice and yellow this paint is, and how there's like this marking around all of the text on the car that looks like masking tape. And then underneath of that, or like in between all the letters, is the dingy old yellow paint that I think was original to this car. So I think this was repainted at some point. This is the only bit of damage that it has that I can tell. And it's just some snap pins. There's actually still one in there, so you might be able to fix that. Get it in to hold just enough that it can sit on a shelf and look pretty. Or you just, show its good side. But yeah, this is actually, I'm starting with this one because it is one of only two cars in my collection that actually has its original box, or what's left of it. As you can see, this is a little worn out, but this will be going with this car when somebody buys it. So, yeah, that's the first item. So, while we're on tank cars, let me go grab the other one. Alright, so, next up, we got this 2680 Shell tanker. This thing is in immaculate shape. I am genuinely amazed. This is like one of the only imperfections I can find in it. It is all original. It's never been restored. It just was wrapped in plastic in a box in a climate-controlled basement for pretty much its entire life until I got it a couple years ago. It does have the automatic box couplers. I have no idea if they work. I don't have a track to test it out on. But yeah, it's in spectacular shape. I'm not sure why Lionel did two different styles of tank cars, one with a short dome, one with a tall dome, but this one's the short dome. The one you saw previously is the tall dome. This was also one of a three-car set that went with the 1666, which I will be showing you guys a little bit later because that's also for sale. It's also the engine I restored on my channel a couple of years ago, I think now. But yeah, so there we go, 2680 Shell tanker car. Alright, how about this thing? This is a 3651 log dump car. Again, with the automatic couplers. I'm pretty sure this is an automatic dumper as well. I'm not sure. I can't test it, again, because I don't have tracks that use these things. So, it's also tied down. The only damage on this thing is this brake handle that's supposed to go over here. Unless the mechanism itself is broken. So, and I can't test it because it's got these wires, and these wires are to prevent the logs from falling off the side, because as anybody who's owned a Lionel dump car from any era knows, these things don't do squat at holding these logs up, and they will just roll off the side, especially when you go around a corner quickly. But yeah, it's a really good looking car. There isn't a whole lot of cosmetic damage to it. Obviously there's a little bit because it's old, but yeah. This will come with the logs and the wires and the brake handle if you want to fix it. So, pretty neat car. I honestly didn't know that they made these in the pre-war era, so it's cool that I have one, and soon one of you will as well. Alright, so next up we got this 2679 Baby Ruth boxcar. This is another car that came in that set with that Shell tanker with the short domes that I was talking about. That is in really good shape. Obviously there's a little bit of cosmetic damage on it. Don't know what it's from, but yep. The sides look really good. The frame, could probably use a little bit of touch up, and the ends look really good. So, hasn't been restored. Again, this is just how it was. It was wrapped in plastic in a basement forever. So, really cool car. A lot of people say that these Baby Ruth box cars are valuable and they're collectible. I'm not sure. I just have it listed for the same price as everything else. But yeah, it's just like every other car. Rolls really nice, and it's got movable doors. So, yep, neat car. On to the next one. Alright, here we have a 652 orange gondola. It has a little bit more cosmetic damage than the other cars. It's also got 3 issues. The first is that it's missing the brake handles on both ends. Somebody harvested the or the automatic coupler mechanism off of this. It wasn't me, and I don't know why you would do that, but it's missing it on this car, or on this truck. And the third issue is that the pin, or not the pin, sorry, the C-clip that you can see over here, and the washer that hold this truck into the frame snapped off, and I do not have them. There's that missing mechanism. So the pin doesn't really change much of anything. It just makes it a little bit annoying to pick up and move around. But once it's on the layout, like, it'll do whatever you want it to do, and the truck will stay in there as long as that pin is through the hole in the body. But yeah, so there you go. It's my orange 652 gondola car. Okay, so now I have a whole bunch of cabooses, or caboose, or cabin cars, or heck, I don't know, whatever you want to call them. Here's the first one. This is the third car in that 3-car set that's in relatively good shape. Again, has a little bit of cosmetic damage, just like the other 2 that came with it. Has the automatic couplers. Does not have illumination. It would have a pickup roller here if it did. I don't know if any of these had lighting. I don't know. If you know, let me know in the comments. But yeah, it's in really good shape. Again, rolls very smoothly. So I personally am not a big fan of the smeeshed cupola, but thankfully I have 2 other cabooses that do not have smeeshed cupolas. So let me go get those. So here's the first one. This is the older one. They made these until, I want to say it was like 39, with the plates. I have it correct on my eBay store, so feel free to go check it out. It's got the, I'm assuming what were originally cream windows that have since yellowed. This nameplate's a little pushed in, but other than that, it's pretty good. Other than the black fingerprint that's on this side. It's also missing the rear coupler. I don't know if they came with rear couplers, but this one doesn't have it. It's also pretty marred up. But yeah, so that's the first one. And then I have another one. It's exactly the same as another 657. That is the later version. This is the 1940 to 1942 version. Same color scheme. You can tell it's the later one because it has the rubber stamps instead of the nameplates. This one is in substantially better shape. But yeah, so there you go. Those are my 3 cabooses. But that's not all. I also have some passenger cars. Okay, so up first, we have this 602 baggage car. This one's actually already sold. It sold almost immediately, which is fantastic. All of these cars that I'm going to show you, there's 3 of them, have this issue where the pin that holds in this coupler's second joint likes to fall out. They also all have 3D printed coupler boxes because the original couplers were broken, and rather than buying replacement ones, I was like, okay, I want to do this cheaply, so I just designed these and 3D printed them, and they work great, honestly. This car is interesting because it does have a light in it, but it doesn't have any pickup rollers. It has the mount for one, but the pickup roller is not on it, and I don't know why. But all the doors open, and overall it's in really good cosmetic shape. These are my favorite cars. These are the ones that I normally run behind either of my engines. Although now there's 3 of them. So, but yeah, that's the baggage car. Alright, so the second car in that set is this number 600. Again, 3D printed, coupler boxes. This one does have pickup rollers, or it has a pickup roller, so it does have working interior illumination. It's got some benches in there too, but not as good shape cosmetically. But, you know, they're old and they've never been restored. So, again, more details. You can find detailed pictures and whatnot too on my eBay store. A link to that will be in the description. But, yeah. And then the last car, which has a similar issue to that gondola, is this one. This is the observation car. Number 601. It's also in pretty good shape. It has a pickup roller, so it has working illumination. I also rewired it because the original wiring disintegrated on both the passenger car and this car. But this one also is missing that pin, or that C-clip that holds the truck into the body. But again, doesn't really need it, because once it's sitting on the track, there we go. Now it's settled in. It doesn't come off unless you're, you know, jumping it off the table. But I don't know many people that would be doing that. But yeah, so those are my 600 series. I think they're 600 series. I would assume they are, because they're, you know, 600s. Passenger cars. So now I'm going to show you some work in progress stuff. Okie dokie. Here we go. Yeah. So this is one of those 1630 series cars that I'm restoring. They need to be assembled, obviously, but all the paint's done. I think it looks good enough for what it's for. The metallic roof is definitely metallic. I think it looks cool, but that's just me. These are supposed to be like sort of budget restorations. It's not really meant to be like absolutely perfect down to like every minute detail kind of restoration where I spend months doing it. This is just, you know, quick and dirty, looks really good, especially when it's running around a layout behind an engine. Nobody's gonna look at it and go, oh hey, that doesn't look exactly right, because, you know, they're just meant to be enjoyed. But there was a guy who commented on my 249E restoration who said that you can try and take this paint off with hot water and Tide, and then you put down a base layer and then a top coat. And I'm gonna try that the next time that I do one of these restorations, because that would save me so much time and energy. Just, you know, instead of spending God knows how long wire wheeling, you just you soak it in water. But yeah, so that's one of the cars. There's another coach car, and there is an observation car, which has a couple more pieces, but very yeah, there's the jewels. I think they look really good, honestly. Perfectionists are gonna say that, you know, it's a mess and I should tear it down and redo it, but I like it. The other thing that needs to happen is these guys. So these are digital recreations of the original rubber stamps that were on these side sheets, and I did my best to try and preserve the original imperfections when I was editing them and whatnot. So I think I did pretty well. I guess I'll let you guys be the judge of it, and whoever buys it will be the determining vote. But I think they look pretty decent. This is water slide paper It's got a bunch of layers of clear coat on it, which is why, you know, that happens in the light. So I really hope this works, because if it doesn't, I'm going to have to come up with something else, but from everything I've read and researched, this should work just fine. I just actually have to sit down and do it. But this project's kind of on hold because all 3 cars need couplers, and the couplers won't be ready for a couple more weeks. So these will eventually be assembled and up on my eBay store, but for right now, they are going to sit in pieces until I can get the couplers. And before we get into the locomotives, there's this thing. I bought this to help me do the 262 restoration. It's a 262E shell. Obviously it has the E-unit switch instead of the direction lever in the cab, but I was originally going to use the trim. I was going to try and reuse the trim, and that way I could have a set of the original trim and a set of nice cleaned up trim, but never ended up doing that. I just left the original trim on it because I decided it looks fine. So yeah, this is also already sold. This sold actually while I was filming this video, so that's pretty neat. But yeah, now let's get into the fun part. Let's get into the locomotives. Alright, so some long-time viewers of my channel are probably jumping out of their chairs right now. This is the same 1666 that I restored, I think, a number of years ago now, for a tutorial video for how to work on post-war and late pre-war style locomotives. It's actually one of my more popular videos on YouTube, which is pretty neat. But I don't run it, it just sits under my layout most of the time, so it's time to let somebody else enjoy it. It's missing a headlight lens, marker light lens, and the C-clip for the rear truck on the tender, so it does the same thing that the gondola does, where you pick this up and the truck just stays on the tracks. But the whistle works, the E-unit works, it's super smooth and super fast for some reason. I don't know why. But on really low voltage, it really flies. But yeah, there you go. That's the first of my pre-war engines. Alright, so now we're just back to the beginning of the video. This is my 249E that I just finished restoring. It's got brand new paint, it's got brand new marker lights up front, it's got a brand new headlight lens, and it runs great. It doesn't have an E-unit. I don't know why, just like many other things in this video. Somebody removed it at some point before I got a hold of it. So as long as I've had it, it's just never had an E-unit. It's wired to go forward, and it goes forward. It only goes forward, so don't get your hopes up for anything other than that. But yeah, it's a really good runner, and I love it. I want to keep it, but I can't. So one of you guys is going to get to enjoy this thing. Alright, here it is, the grand finale. This is my 262 that I spent a really long time restoring. So if I had to choose between this or the 249E, I would choose this one. I think it looks better because it's got the flags and the green markers up front, the red spoke drivers, the orange stripes, the coal load, and maybe the fact that I spent 2 months fixing it. But it currently doesn't run. So it's currently not on my eBay store because it doesn't run. I'm actually going to go get the wheel probably today to fix that, get it running for you guys so that I can put it up on that store so you guys can buy it. But yeah, I'm going to stage all these trains so I can do a conclusion, and I'll be right back. So there you have it. That is all my Lionel Tinplate that's up for sale on my eBay store. Link to that will be in the description. The only things that aren't up right now are the 262 and the 1630 series passenger cars, because 262 needs a wheel and the 1630s need couplers and to be assembled and to be decaled. But yeah, I love Tinplate. I'm not getting rid of it because I don't like it. I'm getting rid of it because I don't use it. And it would be much better in a place where somebody will actually enjoy it instead of it sitting under a platform 5 hours away from its owner collecting dust. But yeah, so if you guys are interested in anything, go ahead, check out that store and pick it up. This video is being made in early January of 2024, and it's probably going to be up for a while because in 5 years I'm going to be kicking myself for selling all this stuff, and I'm going to want to take a look at what I used to have. But maybe someday I'll buy a rusted out old 263 and fix it up. But there you go. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed. I am CW Hollow 1, and have a good day, or maybe good night in your case. See ya.